Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel, and today we'll be talking about volume and capacity of solids. So what is volume? Volume is the amount of space a container what occupies, while capacity is the amount of what liquid a container can what hold. Now, as we know, there's a relationship between volume and what capacity. For volume, like I said earlier, volume is the amount of space in a what container, while capacity is the amount of what liquid the container can what hold. Now, here on the board, I have a question. The question says, find the capacity in liters of a bucket, 24 centimeter in diameter at the top, 16 centimeter in diameter at the what, bottom, and 18 centimeter what, deep. Now, here is a bucket is, we have a bucket like this. This is the bucket. Now, we're told from this point to this point, that's the diameter at the top, is 24 centimeters. Now, at the bottom is 18 centimeters. Sorry, at the bottom is 16 centimeter. That is the diameter at the bottom. Now, we're given the height. The height or the depth of the bucket is 18 centimeter. Now, we are asked to find the capacity of this bucket, meaning we are to find the amount of liquid or water this bucket can hold. Now, how do we do that? Now, this bucket is not a geometric word solid. We know bucket is not a geometric solid, meaning we don't have, there's no specific formula that we can use to find the volume of this bucket directly. So what do we need to do? We need to improvise. And the only way to do that is to draw something like this. You know, this line, draw it straight. Straight. Can you see? Now, on the board, we have a shape in form of a word, a cone. Now, you can see we have a shape in form of a cone. Now, from this point, if you draw a line straight, straight like this. Now, this line becomes the vertical height of the what? Cone. Now, you might end up having, if you look at this, let me just bring out one side of it. You have something like this. You have something like this. You have something like this. Can you see? Now, so we have now two triangles in one. So at the top, since this is the diameter, from this point to this point becomes the radius. So from this point to this point, since it is half, we now have 12. This becomes 12. If you divide 24 by 2, you have 12. So from this point to this point is 12, which is the radius of the top of the bucket. Now, the radius of the bottom of the bucket will now, since this is 16, this is 16. We have 16. If you divide 16 by 2, you have what? 8 centimeter. So at the bottom, the radius is 8 centimeter. Now, from this point, we know from these 2 points, we have, this is 18 centimeter. So from this point to this point is 18 centimeter. But I decided to what? Draw this. So I don't even know the height. So I'll just call the height X. I'll call the height X centimeter. So as you see on the board, what can you make of this? It means here now, I'm going to use what we call similar word shapes. The concept of similar word shapes to find X. I want to find the height of the smaller word cone. As you see here, we have a bigger cone and also have a smaller cone. So now, since I have a bigger cone and also a smaller cone, Now, for me to get the volume of the bucket, it means I will find the volume of the bigger cone and then find the volume of the smaller cone, this one, and then subtract the volume of the smaller cone from the volume of the bigger cone. That will now give me the volume of the bucket. Now, look at it. So I have, to find this, as I said, I'm going to use the concept of what? Similar word, shapes. Now, under similar shapes, the ratio of two sides, the ratio of two sides is equal to what? The ratio of the word corresponding side. So if I have, for instance, I have 12 here, I have 8 over x. So I have 8 over what? X. The ratio of this side, the ratio of this and this side is equals to the ratio of this 12 centimeter over what? 18 plus x centimeter. So this is the concept I borrowed from what? Similar shapes, saying that 8 over x, that is this over this. Since this diagram, you have a triangle here. You have two triangles in one. The bigger triangle and the smaller triangle, since they are both similar. So I can just decide to say, okay, the ratio of this side, this and this side, is equal to the ratio of this and this side. So now, to solve this, to find x, I'll have to cross multiply. So what do you have here? You have, if you cross multiply, you have 8 open bracket 18 plus x is equals to 12x. When you cross multiply, you have 12x. Here, when you multiply, 8 times 6 is 8 times 8 is 64. You write 4, carry 6. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 6 is 14. We have 14. 8 times x, you have 8x is equals to what? 12x. Now you transpose this to this side. Since you cannot add this, they are unlike terms. But this and this are like terms because they have x in common. So when you transpose, you have 1, 4, 4 is equals to 12x minus 8x. And when you subtract, you have 4x is equals to 144. Now, to find x, divide both sides by what? 4. What you do to the left-hand side, you do to the right to balance it. So 4 here will cancel 4. So you have your x now is equals to 4 in 14 is what? 4 in 14 is 3. Remember 2. In 24, 4 in 24 is 6. So it means the height from this point to this point is 36 centimeters. So here we now have it as, so the height of the bigger cone, height of the bigger cone, height of the bigger cone is what? Is 36. Height of the bigger cone is 36 plus what? 18. So when you add these two, that is 18 plus 36. When you add it, you have 8 plus 6. You have what? 14. Write down 4, carry 1. Then 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So you have what? So 36 plus 18 will give you what? 56 centimeters. So it means the height of the bigger cone is 54 centimeters. Now, we will find the volume, like I said earlier, if you remember, we will find the volume of the bigger cone and then find the volume of the smaller cone and subtract the volume of the smaller cone from the volume of the bigger cone. And that will now give us the volume of the what? Bucket. So we now, volume of bigger cone, volume of bigger what? Cone is equals to 1 over 3 pi r square h. Now, 1 over 3 times 22 over 7, since pi is equal to 2 over 7, times our r for the bigger cone is 12. That is 12 square. Now, times the height. The height of the bigger cone is 54. Now, this is, if you multiply, you have, altogether, what do we have? Let me see. We have multiply this by this by this. If you square this, you have 144. 144 times 22 times 54. You have 171,072. Divide by 3 times 7 is 21. So we are dividing by 21. If you divide by 21, you have what you have. You have 8146.29 approximately. I approximate to 2 decimal places. So this is now the volume of the what? Volume of the what? Bigger cone. Now I need to find the volume of the smaller cone. Now here we have volume of the smaller cone. Volume of smaller what? Cone is going to be, is still given as 1 over 3 pi r square h. So you have 1 over 3 times 22 over 7 times your radius, which is 8 square, times the height. The height is now what we got initially, which is 36. So here, if you now use your calculator, you have 22 times, this is 8 square is 64, times 64 times 36. You have 50688. Now divide by 21. Since 3 times 7 is 21, you now have, divided by 21, you have 2413.71. Now approximately to what? 2 decimal places. Now volume of bucket. Volume of bucket. Volume of bucket is equals to what? Volume of bigger what? Bigger what? Cone minus volume of smaller what? Cone. So what do we have? What is the volume of bigger cone? The volume of bigger cone is 8146.29 minus 2413.71. So when you subtract, use 8146.29 minus 2413.71. We have 572.58 centimeter cube. Now this is the volume of the bucket. But the question says find the capacity in liters of the bucket. Now, since this is the volume of the bucket, meaning this is the space the bucket occupies. The bucket occupies 5,732.58 centimeter cube. Now, we will have to change this word capacity. Now, we know that 1,000 centimeter cube is equal to what? 1 liter. So since we have this, we just come here and say the capacity of the bucket now, capacity is equals to 5,732.58 divided by what? 1,000. Now, what do we have? We will now have, if you divide, you now have 5.7 what? 3258 liters. So approximately this is 5.7 liters, which is the capacity of the what? Bucket. So it means the bucket can hold liquid. It can hold liquid. It can hold up to what? 5.7 liters of what? Liquid. That is just this. Thank you.